everyone, how are you today? Despite all the troubles in the world, I hope you're doing well. My name is Shufa Bangug, a student at Sabal State University, Cabagan campus, majoring in English. Alright, in this video, I'm going to share you one of my favorite poem, which is admirable for its simplicity, manly emotion, dignity, and truth. In this video, I hope you will learn and enjoy. The title of the poem that I am talking about is A Psalm of Life. It is an inspiring poem written by the American poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The poem was first published in October 1838, issue of the Knickerbocker or New York Monthly Magazine, a magazine published in the New York City. Alright, before I read the poem, let's try to find out first what is the meaning of the word psalm. Psalm is a religious or sacred song or hymn, in particular any of those contained in the biblical book of Psalms and used in Christian and Jewish worship. But here the meaning of a psalm of life is a song of life, where the poet glorifies life and its possibilities. It is an invocation to mankind to follow the path of righteousness, the right way to live this life. This poem is didactic in tone. This poem consists of two characters, the psalmist and the young man. The psalmist is an older man whom the young man has sought out to help explain the meaning of life. He is religious, most likely in the conservative Puritan tradition. And the young man who seeks the psalmist out to figure out the meaning of life. He is discontented with the psalmist's answer and responds with his own views, which center on the need for action and optimism. He uses religious language to make his case that the soul does not die, even though the body does. So, hear how the poem goes. This is what the young man said to the psalmist. A Psalm of Life by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream, for the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. As thou art, the dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined underway, but to act that each tomorrow find us farther than today. Art is long and time is fleeting, and our hearts, though stout and brave, still like muffled drums are beating funeral marches to the grave. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dung-driven cattle, be a hero in the strife. Trust no future, however pleasant, let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present, heart within and God overhead. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime. And departing, leaving behind us footprints in the sands of time, footprints that perhaps another, sailing over life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing shall take heart again. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, is still achieving, is still pursuing. Learn to labor and to wait. Now, for you to better understand the poem, please allow me to share you its line-by-line analysis. In the first stanza, tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream, for the soul is dead, it slumbers, and things are not what they seem. The poem begins with a verb tell in an imperative manner, and the very first sentence strikes the positive keynote of the poem. It also indicates that the poet is going to give us some instructions on what this life actually is and how we should take it. The poet asks us not to tell him in sorrowful verses that life is a hollow and meaningless dream. Here, Longfellow slums the pessimists who sing melancholy songs, write sad songs, or think that nothing can be achieved in this life. According to the poet, a person who spends all his time sleeping is already dead. Such worthless examples of life often misguide others, so he assures that life is not so shady or worthless as it looks like, and it has much more potential than we think of. Now let's proceed to the next. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Thus thou art to dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. The second stanza begins with the line, life is real, life is earnest. This also conveys the poet's positive attitude towards life. According to him, life is real and serious, not baseless or useless. So, we should not take this life lightly, okay? To him, grave is not the ultimate goal of life. Life does not end with death. He wants to indicate that our works remain in this world even after our death. He thinks that thou art to dust returnest. You are made of dust, and you will go back to dust after death. Is only spoken of the body and is not applicable to the soul. So the poet makes it clear that he believes in the existence of the soul after our death. In the third, not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined underway, but to act that each tomorrow find us farther than today. The third stanza of A Psalm of Life is about the ideal way of living. The poet suggests that neither enjoyment nor sorrow should be our ultimate aim or way of life. He means to say that in an ideal life, there should be both enjoyment and sorrow in a balanced way. The most important thing is to work and work diligently so that we can always be a better learned, better skilled, and better mannered human being with every passing day. The poet in the Psalm of Life doesn't want us to waste even a single day. We should crave for going farther each day in our journey of life. Okay? I hope you understand that. Art is long and time is fleeting, and our hearts, though stout and brave, still like muffled drums are beating funeral marches to the grave. The fourth stanza of the poem A Psalm of Life is about our responsibilities in this life, about the work assigned to us. Art is long and time is fleeting means that the work given to us is vast and time-consuming. But the time is running away fast with every moment. The poet then says that though our hearts are brave and stout at other times, we fear death and our heart beats when we realize that death is certainly coming our way bit by bit. Longfellow compares this situation of our heart to the beating of the cloth drums at the funeral marches to the grave. Here he means to say that we should utilize our limited time span to the fullest instead of wasting it the thought of death or such thing. Next, in the world broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb-driven cattle, be a hero in the strife. In this stanza of A Psalm of Life, the poet compares this world to a vast battlefield where we, the human beings, come temporarily in the camps to fight the battle of our life. So the human beings are compared with troops. The poet urges us to be a hero in this battle of life, to fight this out bravely and finally win it. In other words, he wishes us to be successful in life by following the right way of life. He doesn't like us to see like the dumb cattle driven by others with no particular goal or direction. Next, trust no future, however pleasant, let the dead pass bury its dead. Act in the living present, heart within and God overhead. In the sixth stanza of the poem Psalm of Life, the poet reminds us of a very popular quote, learn from the past, live in the present, and hope for the future. But here the poet instructs us not to trust the future. However, pleasant it may seem because we often get carried away by the happy dreams about our future and forget to act in the present. He also tells us to forget the past events, as they are dead and they should not haunt us anymore and affect our present action. And what is crucial is to act in the present. In the living present, we have to follow our heart and keep faith in God overhead. Next, lives of great men all reminds us we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. In the seventh stanza, the poet says that the lives of so many great and successful men reminds us that we can also achieve those heights if we wish and strive for that. And if we can do that, we would be living forever in our works, in the hearts of people. Longfellow compares this immortality to leaving footprints on the sands of time. In other words, we will not be living forever here, but we can leave our marks on the infinite flow of time through our good work. Right? That would inspire later generations to follow our way. Alright, next. Footprints that perhaps another sailing over life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother seeing shall take heart again. In the penultimate stanza of A Psalm of Life, the poet continues the same theme of leaving a footprint to inspire others to follow. He compares a dejected or wretched person with a hopeless, shipwrecked man sailing over the large sea of life. The word life solemn mean, the person can find the example set by us and can gain our courage and hope to move forward. And finally, my favorite stanza, let us then be up and doing with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait. In this final stanza, Longfellow asks us to be up at once and start working. However, the poet here urges us not to mind the consequences or to make our mind prepared for any fate. We must carry on, reaching great heights, still not living. We must learn to labor, to work hard, to act wisely, and to wait for the rewards patiently. Alright, that's it. So, going through this poem, we now realize how inspiring and motivating this poem has been. The poet conveys his message all over the poem, but I feel the first two lines and the very last line of the poem are enough to give an impression of what this poem is all about. We should not spend our priceless moments sitting idly and doing nothing. Rather, we have to work hard towards reaching our goal and to make the most out of this short life. I will now end my simple presentation here. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you learned and at the same time enjoyed the poem. God bless you.